Hello, I am Margarita Crystal Lotus. I am a intuitive life and business mentor who works with the women who wants to discover their purpose and find a life of joy and fulfillment. So in this training today, I will talk about how to help without codependency. This training is part of the Healing Jewellery curriculum for trainings of the energy body. So what I'm going to talk about codependency today is going to be from the perspective of the energy body. So this is my focus, and of course I've studied something about healing and crystals, and I've worked for more than 16 years with my healing modality, crystal healing and healing jewelry. And I also have written a book on crystals and healing, and it's a quite heavy book, and which you can find on my website, thecrystallotus.com. So, what are the symptoms of codependency, and why is that so important? Well, the symptoms of codependency is when somebody have an agenda. When they help you, they have an agenda. So to look at codependency from that point of view, they're looking for an outcome, a payoff, let's say. And they're so worried about this outcome for themselves that they're bending over backwards to actually provide you help, which maybe not necessarily it's not necessarily welcome all the time. And believe it or not, most normal people engage in some level of codependency or another. So it's not just clinical cases and really serious problem, but we all have a tiny bit of this inside of us. I can tell you a personal story that I had many years ago. My then partner and I, we had a really bad argument, and it wasn't so fun to have an argument. So after that, I went to my room, and I wanted to just vanish, to not exist almost. It wasn't like a suicide at all. It was more like I wanted to be so small and so tiny, so that I would disappear from the surface of the earth. It was a horrible feeling. And then I started to pack my things. Not really to move out, but I just wanted to minimize my presence. And after a while of that, I was thinking, why am I doing this? And it occurred to me that it would be my partner who should move out if there would be something. But I had searched for approval most of my life, and then when I didn't get it, I was really unhappy. So I wanted to help and give something to people, and then they would give me praise or approval, validate me, because I didn't yet discover that happiness comes from inside, and that it cannot come from other people. But most people who are in codependency, they don't know about that. And you will find codependent people, maybe you have some of those traits yourself, but you will find some other people in your midst that are codependent in some way or another. So some signs of a codependent is they're seeking a validation that they're loved, that they're worth something, and they bend over backwards to help you so that you would be grateful to them, something like that. They are also really bad in taking care of themselves. They don't have time for taking care of themselves. They are more busy with other people's care. And it's very interesting when we compare with some of the spiritual traditions. We should be compassionate, we should help other people, and we should give effortlessly from ourselves. It sort of enhances the patterns of codependency, even though if you're giving with an open heart and there is no strings attached, that's a virtue. But if you have a string attached to it, then it may be codependency. So most codependent people, they have not very much self-love and not very much self-worth either. They're prone to worrying, and they're very concerned with what other people think of them. So I made sort of a picture of this, how this could look like. And you know that when we talk about codependent people, they are also attracting other people that are in another pattern. And in this little picture here, you will see that there is a picture of the aura, and you see the codependent person here has a lot of openings in the aura, and there is things going in and out. These are sort of hooks. And when you're thinking about a codependent person, they often attract narcissists. And you've seen this. There's often abuse connected with this. The other person is abusing the codependent, and then they often feel like a martyr and a victim. But notice that there is no opening on the top here to the spirit. There is no energy flow very much like we saw last week, where if a person has inspiration, it opens up really to a lot of energy. Instead, we have these sort of boundaries. It's like a prison of this patterns, of these habits that the codependent person have with another archetype called the narcissist. And you notice that there is hooks. There is hooks here that hooks into the other person. Now, you know when one is feeling the pull of those hooks, you feel an obligation, you feel like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And so that's all part of the codependent world. And if you have something like that going on for you, I will talk about that later in this training, how you could stop it and become happier. This is a vast topic, and many psychologists and psychotherapists are working on this. But I'm going to try to illustrate it from the energy point of view, what you can do with your own energy. So the idea that we want to attain is, of course, this scenario where people can interact with each other, and then they have their own energy flows, and they're self-sustainable and sharing the gifts they have with each other instead of demanding and being in control patterns with each other. So wouldn't you also want to be in such a relationship with other people? And you can use the chat box here to type in any questions you have if you like. Okay. So when talking about codependency, there is also something called collaboration. So there is two things here. If we have a codependent relationship and a collaborative relationship, The difference between them is that you have there is a hidden quality to the codependent, and when it comes to the collaboration, it can be completely open. So I'll show you this one here, and this is also going to be in the downloads. You could see that the codependent needs validation, whereas the collaborator, it's fully transparent, and there is more equality, where in the codependent relationship there is an inequality. One is over and the other is under, and there is sort of a pull and push and pull, and that creates these tense patterns. And in a collaborative relationship, there is no hooks. Whereas in the codependent relationship, there is maybe one hook or more hooks. The lack of boundaries for the codependent is very evident. And so if you see that if I show you this again, it's not a free state of mind to be codependent. Okay, so I wanted to get you some facts here. Of course, when it comes to happiness, it cannot be you cannot get it from other people. You have to create it inside of you. So if you wanted to change something in you, then take a look at that. This is a fact. How you can improve your situation is realizing that your happiness, your joy, all of these things cannot happen other than in your heart, inside of you. You cannot get it from other people. You can, of course, have somebody help you to guide you through it, and that's okay. So the other thing is that when you're actually trying to help somebody, then there should not be any hooks attached to it. I mean, true generosity is really, there is no expected outcome, no agenda going on. So if you discover in yourself that, oh yeah, I'm doing this because I want this, and the other person really don't know it, and you don't know it, then it's probably a good idea to find out. So the first part of this is to discover this. And the question to ask is, why would I help this person or assist this person and offer to give my help in some way or another for a cause or anything like that? Ask yourself, what is the reason why you want to do it? And if you find that you do it because you wanted to feel good, you wanted to feel their feedback, you wanted to whatever it is that you wanted, that you didn't know from the beginning, take a look at that. Take a look at it. And then the second question is the rewards you're seeking for your help when you're helping somebody, if it's codependent or not. Is there a hidden agenda that you have there? Or are you experiencing help from somebody who are codependent? So this is some questions that you can think about. And the third question is, does this other person, whether you're the recipient or if you're the one who's doing it, are they truly helped? So if you take a look at those questions, it's similar to what we did last week in thinking of, okay, I can find an association to something that made my inspiration blossom, we can do something similar here and say, am I taking energy from somebody else? Am I wanting the inspiration, the love, the self-worth to be reflected back to me through another person? And then that's why I'm doing these helping actions. And the first thing that I would suggest is look at this body here. Let's see what it is. Look at the aura of this person here. It's like a cheese. It's like a cheese. It's full of holes where cords goes in and out. And when you have these cords going out to different events and different people, it's like you're in prison. So take a look at that and see if you still want to be inside of that. You want to make some changes. Usually when we are suffered enough, or we are experience enough pain, we're usually seeking some solution to it. So if it's codependency, this is something that is really helpful to stop. And the first training I would say that we could do is to say, heal those leaks, because your energy goes out, or the other person who is codependent, that person leaks energy that they could use for themselves, because they need it. A codependent person thinks to themselves as a very low value, and when we value ourselves, then we want to take care of ourselves. We're using our own energy to help ourselves and make ourselves healthy, and then we become happier. It's simple as that. But you know, with all kinds of habit that a person has, sometimes it's close to an addiction. Some people say that codependency is sort of creates addictions to all kinds of substances and stuff like that, because that's the only thing you can do if you're not having anything else to grab hold of. So think about some of the habits that's going on with yourself, and to heal the leaks in your energy body is to say, no, stop this. I'm not going to engage in this anymore. Let me look at what I can do to do this. And so the first step, I think, is to say no. Say no to somebody who's expecting you to do all of these things, or if it's not helpful for you. So if you like, also, and how many of you have experienced this in your life? So you could type something like that in the chat box if you like. Okay, I have a question here, and that is somebody who says that, let's see what this is, and this lady is saying that she said that she's never feeling like she found her groove in her life. It's like she was always depending on others, and she's never really feeling happy inside. And so what can we do with that? So if you have a person who is like that, I would say take a good look, become present to yourself, and see, where do I leak energy? Where will I stop my aura from losing energy in all kinds of directions? It may simply be to say a simple no to somebody who's expecting you to do something. Okay. And the second thing is also to take a look at what people you have in your life. What kind of people do you have? Let's say we have three categories. People who always give us what we want, people who don't give us what we want, and then people who simply not engage with us, but we want to engage with them because they seem popular, they are happy, but they're not engaging with us. So here we can make a choice. We can see that people who are really not helping us by supporting our, let's say, codependency, they're praising you, but they don't really mean it. They're just keeping you at bay. And you feel that. So these kind of people, do you want to have them in your midst? Do you want to have them as friends? Or do you want to have things to do with them? Or do you want to develop a relationship with people who actually are self-sustainable and that you can share your gifts with without this other control patterns? And the last part of the training today is to bring focus into your heart. And how do we do that? Well, become aware that you have a heart. Feel your heart. That's from where you actually learn how to love. If you can come into your heart, then it's from that place that you can act. So how do we do that? The same as last week with inspiration. We inhale to our heart. Can we do that now? And then we imagine that the air goes into our heart, and then see what's there. It might take some time to actually enter into the heart, and that's okay. The best is to actually take the first step so that you can actually discover that you actually have a heart, and in your heart there is like a fountain of energy, and this is the energy source we're looking to connect with. That's what's creating this flow here. Okay? And now we have close to the 30 minutes. Okay? So I would like to leave you with something, and that is, if you want to help without codependency, look to see how you can truly serve without expecting anything in return. Try it. Try to see if you can actually do something for somebody or some cause, and you don't expect anything in return. This is a good evaluation of how free you are. If you can do that, then you're on your way. And so these are the three things, and the fourth thing that I just mentioned. And so that is heal your energy leaks, say no. And the second one is retire people that enable your codependency. And then the third thing is bring focus to your heart. And how you test that is to truly serve by having now no outcome. And then you can come into your heart, and that's the place where we experience happiness and really true love. So if you engage in this, it's engaging in a healing journey, actually. I've done this now for many years, and I'm not finished for myself yet. But now it becomes like a second nature. I say, oh yeah, I can let go of that. So the healing journey is actually creating a relationship with your true self. And that's the key here. If you have a great relationship with yourself and you're comfortable with yourself, you also increase the love for yourself and also your self-worth. And then it's easier to say, yes, I would like to have this. I need this. I'm going to create that for myself. Does that help? Okay. So habits creates health. So there is some of these things that small habits creates a new life. So see if you can create some of these things in your life. Transparency in all transactions. Clear boundaries when you have agreement with somebody. And discover if you have some hidden agendas when you're helping, or if you're engaging with other people. It could be privately, it could be in business, it could be in any situation in your life. And you can scan for that to see if you actually are doing that. And then you know, okay, I'll stop it, I'll have my eye on it. And then the more you do it, the easier is it to let go when you get upset. It's really much easier to let go. And every time we let go, it's like one of those bricks in that prison of habits I showed you in the beginning. It's removing, and then you can experience freedom. And in the state of freedom, it's like you get inspired, you get happy, you get to become like you don't really need somebody else, but you can be with other people and really enjoy it. And yeah, so these are the few habits that I was talking about here. All right, let's do a small breathing exercise to finish. And that is the centering breath, which is, I do that in all Healing Jewellery videos before I do them. And that is to get centered. So, will you do it with me? Okay, inhale. And inhale. And feel that heart full, the chest opens out. And then exhale very slowly. And again. And you'll find that after 3 breaths, you feel much more centered and more closer to your heart. And with that, I thank you for watching this episode of my energy training. And if you'd like to get the replay and downloads of these charts, go to thecrystallotus.com/live trainings. And there on this page, you can see how you can get to the replays. Thank you so much for watching.